Namaste student. In this session we will discuss about how to write a unit plan in mathematics. To write a unit plan in any subject, there are some prerequisites one has to undertake. The first and foremost is a student teacher has to select the standard or a class to which he wants to teach the desired subject. So, either it can be 8th standard, 9th standard or 10th standard. So, once the class is fixed, the student teacher is able to analyze the mental abilities of the learner considering all the psychological perspectives, and he will also be able to analyze the dynamics of the class or the group of students in a particular class. So, therefore, he can try to understand the social structures that are already existing in the classroom situation. Keeping these two factors in the background, now a student teacher has to select a particular unit in a particular class. So, after selecting the particular class and a particular unit in a subject, then it is pre-required that one has to do a detailed content analysis. You are already aware of how to do about content analysis in different subjects and how to draw a concept map on a given unit. Keeping those factors in mind, one can try to write a unit plan. For every activity, planning is very important activity. If the planning is very scientific in nature, systematic in approach, then the execution becomes simpler and the results are bound to be attained. So, it is in that perspective planning for every activity becomes more important. So, for teaching learning process also, the planning for a teaching, planning for learning, planning for assessment becomes very crucial factors. So, therefore, planning takes a central stage in teaching learning process. So, it is in that line the first and foremost planning that a teacher has to do is constructing a unit plan or writing a unit plan. Now, let us see how a unit plan format is presented. So, you are seeing the unit plan format on the screen, so which has got several columns. The first column deals with the subunits or the number of lesson one is intends to carry out. The second column is regarding writing the major concepts that are there in each subunits. Accordingly to the each subunit, in the subsequent column you are going to write the learning activities or the learning objectives that you have been able to state. As we know that learning objectives acts as a guide and gives us a direction for carrying out the teaching learning activities. So, it is in that perspective stating learning objectives in relation to the chosen content becomes prime most important. Once these objectives are stated, based on these objectives one can visualize the creation of varieties of learning activities one can provide to the learners, and then one can also select an appropriate learning strategies that should be used in the teaching learning process. So, through these activities and strategies, a student teacher can also see what kind of learning experiences he desires to provide. So, based on these kinds of activities that has been created and making the learner to undergo these learning processes, then we say how learning is going to emerge, and in the next column is going to say how these learning activities are designed by selecting appropriate learning resources. So, combining the learning resources with the learning activities provided with learning experiences. So, the learner is bound to come out with the learning outcomes. So, that learning outcomes needs to be assessed. So, for assessing those kinds of learning outcomes, one need to decide what kind of assessment techniques and strategies he is going to use, whether it is a oral testing or it is a written testing or it is a performance testing or it is internal testing or it is external. So, you can try to use varieties of assessment techniques that are available to him. So, this kind of planning will enable the teacher to visualize that how he is going to analyze the given unit in terms of its knowledge, in terms of learning activities he is going to create, in terms of learning experiences that he is going to create, in terms of learning resources he is going to use, and all the combination of this is enabling him to attain the learning objectives. So, therefore, the unit plan enables the students teachers to visualize the unit in its complete sense, that is in terms of its comprehensiveness, understanding its central theme and trying to see how these themes can be broken down into meaningful subunits and how these subunits are meaningfully, sequentially, logically arranged. So, thereby it gives an ample opportunity for students teachers to plan each individual lessons based on each subunit. So, therefore, we can say that unit planning enables the student teachers to know the width and the depth of the content knowledge and the kind of activities that he can create, the kind of facilities that he can provide to the learners in the classroom situations can be visualized by planning a unit plan in a very comprehensive way. So, as an example, so we will try to see how a unit plan in mathematics is developed. Yes. Now, we assume that a student teacher has taken 9th standard mathematics for his teaching transaction. Now, after choosing the class of the subject, so he has to select a unit. So, in this particular example, a student has chosen the unit surface areas and volumes, and these surface area and volumes in this unit has got 10 subunits as per its content table. Now, how a student teacher has visualized these subheadings of 10 content areas into different subunits or different lessons is to be visualized through a unit plan. Now, let us see how this unit plan has to be developed. As you have seen in the first column, it is expected that a student teacher has to highlight the subunits or the number of lessons is enabled to carry out in a given task. In the screen, that the first column, the subunits or the lessons have been divided into 5 subunits. So, it indicates that the teacher has intent to carry out this unit of surface area and volume in 5 lessons. So, that means in 5 periods. Now, how he has planned it and what are its related activities in the subsequent columns and how he is able to visualize the learning objectives associated with this particular subunits to be seen explicitly. Now, let us try to take the first subunit of this particular chapter. So, in the first subunit, the student teacher has highlighted the introduction, the surface area of cuboid and a cube. So, introduction should not be the teaching point. So, it is an introduction to the entire unit or the major theme that he is going to present it. So, it becomes an introductory activity, and therefore, the teaching points will focus only on surface area of cuboid and a cube. Consequently, second subunit he has planned it as surface area of right circular cuboid and right circular cone. Okay, let us see how a student teacher has divided the unit into number of subunits. So, he has divided the entire unit into 5 subunits, namely introduction, the surface area of cuboid and a cube as one unit. Second unit is surface area of right circular cylinder and right circular cone. The third unit as surface area of sphere and hemisphere. The fourth unit as volume of cuboid and cube, and the fifth subunit as volume of right circular cylinder, cone and sphere. Again, it is left to the teacher to analyze the content and understand the nature of content that is involved in it in the subunit, whether it is containing a factual knowledge, or does it has a conceptual knowledge, or does it have a procedural knowledge. So, keeping upon the nature of knowledge that is involved in the subunit, so one has to decide what kind of activities or objectives one needs to plan. So, therefore, there is no rigid rule that a unit has to be subdivided into 4 or 5 subunits. It depends upon the scope of the unit and the depth of the unit. So, as the teacher has visualized, so it may change from one teacher to another teacher. So, there is no rigidity of making subunits. So, it purely depends on the kind of unit and the kind of knowledge the unit possesses. So, based on those factors, a teacher or a student teacher visualizes those aspects and is going to categorize the entire unit into number of subunits. So, now let us take only the first subunit for our discussion and try to see how a student teacher is able to write all the components that are very much essential for a unit plan. So, in this particular concept subunit, so we will take the first subunit. It is about introduction and surface area of cuboid and a cube. So, this is the subunit, it is visualized by a student teacher. So, introduction will not be the teaching point, it is going to be a major introduction to a unit. So, therefore, that has to be taken as a introductory activity. Based on those introductory activity, the concept of surface area of a cuboid and cube needs to be highlighted. So, in the second column, so it is the major concepts are the teaching points. So, it is in this column the student teacher has highlighted only the two teaching concepts, one is the cuboid, another is the cube. So, it is in this way the student teacher has visualized the major central concept or the major theme of a subunit. So, that means in a class of 40 minutes the student teacher is going to focus upon introducing the concept of cuboid and cube to the learners. So, it is in this background of the content the learning objectives are framed. So, the student teacher has visualized the following objectives. The first objective is identifying the solid figures. Deduce a formula for surface area of a cuboid. Deduce a formula for surface area of a cube. Solves problem on surface area of cuboid and cube. So, he has listed out 4 learning objectives. So, you can visualize how a student teacher has framed this objective, and based on these objectives how the subsequent columns are designed are going to be developed. So, it is the first and foremost, so you can see that the students are expected to identify solid figures. So, here it gives an opportunity for the students teacher to create a learning activities by providing a learning situation. So, here you may present a models of different geometrical objects which are cuboid in nature or cube in nature or rectangular in nature, so that it enables them to identify the solid figures. The student teacher has identified the objective as identifying the solid figures. So, this content area gives scope for the students teacher to create the learning activities like providing varieties of models of cube, cuboid, rectangle, square, everything, so that the students are able to classify the objects into cube and cuboid, make the differentiation and then try to generalize the ideas related to cube and cuboid. So, when the learning models are given, then the student teacher can also design a say that he is trying to provide the direct learning experiences, allowing the students to handle with the modules, and from those sensations he is perceiving the ideas and is enabling to construct his own ideas. So, in the process of construction of knowledge, the teacher can try to assess that. So, therefore, he can either use the inquiry method as it has been indicated here, or he can use the inductive methods where he is going to give series of examples, and then with those series of examples enable the learner to arrive at the generalizations, and then giving a problems for them to solve on the given conceptual ideas will enable them to acquire problem solving skills. So, therefore, the student teacher for this particular subunit 1, he has utilized of using these kinds of teaching learning methods. So, that is inquiry method, inductive method and problem solving method. So, you may use it as per the given content area, or you may integrate all these approaches suitably in the given context and is able to project it. So, for doing these kinds of activities, the student teachers or the teachers requires varieties of learning resources. So, what kind of learning resource teachers are aware of, and how best they are able to use those resources in relation to the given content is to be visualized. So, in this particular context, the student teacher is able to use the dynamic mathematical software. So, that is, he is trying to use ICT integrated into the lesson. So, he is making use of a software through which he is going to show how a cube is, how a cuboid is, and trying to see the different surfaces of the cube and cuboid, so that the students get the clear picture of the concepts that has been presented to them in abstract form. So, therefore, using ICT as one of the resources. So, apart from that, as I have been already indicated, you can use the models, you can use the diagrams, you can use different pictures in the physical world to enable the learners to identify, visualize the cube and cuboid. Similarly, for other aspects of it, the student teacher has indicated that he is going to use video on surface area of a cuboid. So, here the student teacher is relying more on ICT enabled learning resources. So, one has to explore the other kinds of resources also. So, if the situation demands and if the learner's needs requires, so one has to provide varieties of learning resources in the classroom context. So, it is once these learning resources are identified, they are being used, and based on those resources learning activities are designed, and when the learner is immersed into this learning process through the involvement, through the experiences that is gained in relation to the content, the students are going to construct their own knowledge. So, the student teacher has to enable here whether the ideas that need to be assimilated or in the right direction or not. So, it is in that context the student teachers has to adopt a suitable assessment techniques and the devices that is required for testing the situations. So, here since the idea is going to be formed, so it is more desirable that the student teacher uses formative assessment techniques. So, it is in this context the student teacher here is trying to use the oral questioning. So, that is oral testing as the mode of assessment. The second format that is going to use is going to provide a worksheet on the given ideas of cuboid and cube or problem which have been presented on the concept of cuboid and cube in the form of a worksheet. So, that becomes a written testing form. So, he is going to use both oral testing and written testing to ascertain that the concept of cuboid and cube is learned by the learner through the learning activities and the experiences that have gained. So, this activities will ensure that the student have acquired the desired knowledge. So, it is in that perspective you can see that how each column of the unit plan are interrelated. So, each one has a major role to play, and therefore, the student teacher has to understand the essence of these components and how to integrate these components meaningfully in the light of the content that they are going to deliver in the classroom becomes more essential. So, therefore, when this kind of unit planning is done, so that student teacher can visualize the kind of examples that he can provide, the kind of activities that he is able to provide, the kind of learning resources that he can select, the kind of assessment technique he is able to adopt. All these things can be visualized, and the suitable factors that a student teacher can say that can be adopted into classroom condition, can be provided to the learners in classroom conditions has to be utilized. So, when these are adopted and used in a very meaningful manner, then we say the unit planning enables the student teachers to visualize the entire classroom transaction that needs to happen in terms of writing the lesson plans for each of the subunits that are presented in the unit plan. So, the similar kind of exercise has to be carried out for the number of subunits that has been designed for a given unit plan. So, this will enable the student's teacher to visualize the entire major themes that are present in the given unit and how he is able to address that, which pedagogical approach he needs to adopt, and how it is going to benefit him in terms of the content that he has chosen to deliver in the classroom. So, in this session, dear students, so we have understood the importance of unit planning and how the unit planning is going to help the student teacher to visualize the entire unit in different subunits and how it is going to be executed in terms of lesson planning. So, therefore, the lesson planning follows from the unit plan, and the lesson plan gives the complete detailed transactional planning of the teacher through varieties of learning activities and learning experiences and learning assessment that a teacher intends to implement. With this, we end the session. Thank you.